The evening air was thick with the sounds of distant drums and laughter as the villagers of Ikpesa gathered around the fire, their faces illuminated by the flickering light. Nkem watched from afar, standing in the shadows of her home, clutching her shawl close. She could see Obi, her husband, trying to look cheerful, yet his eyes would often wander to the children running around, their innocent laughter filling the night. Nkem remembered her own wedding celebration. It had been a grand affair, with elders offering blessings and villagers clapping and dancing, joy radiating through every corner of Ikpesa. She and Obi were the perfect match, and the villagers happily chanted promises that their union would soon bring forth a strong line of children. But as seasons passed, the promises faded into gossips of pity and then into cruel taunts. Women would glance at her with looks that spoke of pity, as if she were cursed. The laughter of children now haunted her, echoing in her heart as a painful reminder of what she could not have. No one taunted her more than Amara, the young and prideful wife of Obi's younger brother. With 3 children of her own, Amara often flaunted her fertility. She would call her children to her loudly whenever Nkem passed by, taunting, "Ah, it takes a true woman to bring life into this world." These words pierced Nkem's heart like a blade, each word a reminder of her empty home. One night, unable to bear the weight of her sorrow, Nkem left the warmth of her home and wandered to the riverbank. The village river, known as Odo, was where she often sought solace, its gentle waves lapping against the stones, as though whispering secrets only she could hear. She sat there, alone in the stillness of the night, tears streaming down her face, her heart heavy with pain. As she looked at her reflection in the water, a shadow moved behind her, and she startled. An elderly woman with flowing white hair and piercing eyes emerged from the darkness, her gaze as sharp as the blade of a knife, yet oddly comforting. Her presence carried an air of wisdom and mystery. The woman introduced herself with a name that sent a shiver through Nkem's spine. Omenka, a name spoken only in hushed tones in the village, for she was believed to be a spirit guardian, one who appeared to those destined for great trials. Nkem could only stare, unable to move or speak. Omenka's voice was soft yet full of strength. She looked into Nkem's eyes and spoke in a tone that resonated deep within her. A mother's heart is not empty. It is the journey to it that is full of trials. The words were like a riddle, but something about them filled Nkem with a glimmer of hope, a spark that she had long since buried. Before she could ask what Omenka meant, the old woman smiled, her figure fading into the mist that rolled across the river, leaving Nkem alone once again. The chill of the night pressed against her, yet Nkem felt something new stirring inside her, a strength, a hope that she had not been abandoned. Clutching her shawl tightly, she rose and began the walk home, her heart filled with a strange courage, her mind echoing Omenka's words. This was the beginning of a journey she could not yet understand, but one she now felt prepared to face. With Omenka's words echoing in her mind, Nkem felt a surge of hope she hadn't felt in years. She decided to visit Uzochi, the village healer, a revered figure known for his wisdom and connection to the spirits. The air in his shrine was thick with the scent of herbs, and small clay pots filled with ashes and sacred markings lined the walls. Uzochi welcomed her with a knowing gaze, as if he had been expecting her. After she poured out her heart, he led her to a dimly lit corner of his shrine, where a pot smoldered, sending up tendrils of smoke that danced in the air. He murmured ancient incantations, his eyes rolling back as he communed with the spirits. After a long silence, he looked at her gravely and said, "A curse lies upon Obi's lineage, a curse that strangles life before it can begin. This curse must be broken for you to bear a child." Nkem's heart sank. She remembered an ancient curse that had struck their family generations ago, but no one had spoken of it openly. Uzochi continued, "To break this curse, You must go to the shrine of Aje, the goddess of fertility, in the heart of the forbidden forest. The forbidden forest was a place of dread, where wild beasts roamed and voices of spirits filled the air. Villagers told tales of those who had entered and never returned, their voices lost in the shadows of the trees. Nkem felt a chill run down her spine, but the thought of embracing a child of her own gave her courage. She knew this was a path she had to take, no matter the cost. Uzochi placed a hand on her shoulder, his gaze piercing. Take an offering, something close to your heart, something that speaks of the love you hold within you. The goddess must feel the depth of your longing, the strength of your heart. The village elders soon learned of her plan and called upon her, warning her of the dangers. Do not go, Nkem, they implored. There are spirits there that do not welcome the living. No one has ever returned from Aji's shrine. But Nkem was resolute. Their words, though heavy with concern, could not sway her. When she returned home, she found Obi waiting, his face clouded with worry. Nkem, I forbid you to go, he said, his voice trembling. I cannot bear to lose you to the spirits. Yet Nkem's heart was set, and with a sorrowful gaze she reassured him. This is a journey I must take, for both of us. That night, as darkness settled over Ikpesa, Nkem slipped out of their hut. She carried her woven blanket, one she had crafted with dreams of wrapping her own child in it. Alongside it, she bore a carefully wrapped yam and kola nuts, gifts for the goddess, symbols of life, sustenance, and resilience. The forest loomed before her, a wall of twisted trees and thick shadows. The moment she stepped into its embrace, the air grew colder, filled with an eerie silence. The forest seemed alive, watching her every move. Each step she took was guided by an unseen force, as if the trees and leaves whispered secrets of her path. Her heart raced as she navigated through thorny vines and the echoing cries of night creatures. After what felt like hours, she reached a clearing bathed in moonlight. At the center stood a weathered stone altar, shrouded in mist, with carvings of ancient symbols depicting Aji, the goddess of fertility. Nkem knelt before it, laying her offerings on the cold stone. Her hands shook as she unwrapped the blanket, its threads imbued with her hopes and dreams. With eyes closed, she said in a low voice, Goddess Aji, hear my plea. Bless me with the gift of life. I offer you my heart, my love, and my undying faith. A chilling breeze swept through the clearing, and the air grew thick, heavy with an otherworldly presence. Suddenly, a faint glow illuminated the altar, and Nkem felt the ground tremble beneath her. She opened her eyes, only to see a garment in the mist, an ethereal figure, majestic and fierce, with eyes that held the wisdom of ages. She knew it was Aji. The goddess spoke in a voice that was both gentle and commanding. Your heart is strong, Nkem, and your love is pure. But know this, the path you have chosen is filled with trials. Only those who persevere, who sacrifice willingly, shall know the joy of motherhood. As the vision faded, the mist settled, and the forest returned to its usual silence. Exhausted but emboldened, Nkem rose, clutching her chest where her heart beat wildly. She had been seen, her plea heard. With renewed determination, she made her way back, not knowing what trials awaited, but feeling the faint stirrings of hope fluttering within her.